Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Friday, July 21st of 2023. Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Is you is or is you ain't my baby? Anyways, um we have we got the sun getting ready to oppose Pluto, getting ready to ingress into Leo. Venus is about to retrograde. Chiron's about to retrograde. And yeah, we got a very fun next few days ahead of us. So today is that last day before these major shifts start to happen and the drama of the rest of the year kicks off. So let's hop right into it, shall we? Well, we do have the moon. It's in Virgo. It had just finished conjuncting Mars. That happened pretty much in the middle of the night. Yeah, pretty much in the middle of the night. So unless you're up at 2:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what I mean? Or if you're in another part of the world, of course, you actually did experience this. And of course, this did happen while it was opposing Saturn too. So, you know, going into the day, we still do have Mars opposing Saturn. It will come off of it and go to 7 degrees, but it's still within a 1 degree orb. So we're still feeling that influence. So this is sort of like I said, yesterday was sort of like the breakthrough moment. Today's definitely going to be the day where we kind of like take those first steps after the breakthrough, if you will. So we do have, like I said, that moon over here in Virgo, right? Definitely wanting to feel more into the details of things. It can moon in Virgo is an interesting energy. It's like you can be very particular about how you want things to go, and like it can like really dictate your feelings. Moon in Virgo is the kind of energy where it's like if you see dishes in the sink, you just might be like, why are those dishes in the sink? Like that's that kind of energy, right? I actually have dishes in the sink. I didn't clean from last night, so yeah, I gotta work on that. So now, what's interesting today is that even though we do have some of these oppositions, like I said, obviously with the Sun, Pluto, massive. We have Mars and Saturn still here, pretty big still. Like I said, I think that's that breakthrough moment. We do have the opportunity today for some trining energy. All right, now let's take a look at that. So we are going to have the moon is going to reach 12 degrees of Virgo today around 2:37 Eastern Standard Time. It will be making the trine over to Jupiter. And as you can see at that same moment, Mercury enters the 19th degree of Leo, and it does make a trine over to Chiron as well. So even though we have a lot of this building energy where we have the Sun opposing Pluto, we have Mars opposing Saturn, we do have the opportunity to feel some of the more positive aspects of things. With Moon trining over to Jupiter here, yeah, this is definitely a thing where it's like, you know what, things may take time to build, and trying to find the excitement there can be a little bit challenging for some people to try and find excitement in the day-to-day reality, kind of just building things up. But I think this is a very positive thing because it can allow us to really see the joy in the day-to-day grind, if you will. Moon and Virgo is definitely a time where we can kind of Virgo energy, like I said, it's about the day-to-day reality, right? It's about the routine, putting one step in front of the other, right? And this can definitely be a time, with this moon being that it's in the deck and ruled by Saturn, and Saturn, of course, is right over here, Neptune making that opposition to Mars. There's definitely this feeling where it's like, you know what? I definitely want to manifest this dream. I definitely want to have this beautiful life. And it's just not going to come automatically, but we can still find the blessings in the everyday. I think Jupiter is wanting to bring this home as well. Jupiter in the decan ruled by Mercury, and now we have Mercury over here in Leo. So, and it is making the trine over to Chiron. So this is definitely one of those things where, like, Chiron is at the degree that the sun is exalted in Aries at 19 degrees. You know what I'm saying? And then there's definitely going to be this element today where we definitely want to move things forward. We definitely want to feel our power. We definitely want to communicate our power too. But, are we going to be really caught up on the past? Are we going to be caught up on our wounding and just focusing on that itself? Or are we going to embrace the challenges that we have experienced in the past and realize that they made us stronger, and that the reason why we're here is because those challenges made us stronger. I mean, you are here. You are here right now. You're breathing, you're watching this video, you're here. You made it through 100% of your worst days, right? And you got to understand that those challenges made you stronger. They didn't make you weaker, they made you stronger. It may be perceived as weak at first, it's just like kind of like when you're working out and your muscles break down, but they build back stronger, So they don't just stay dilapidated unless you have like some sort of like weird disease, right? Which that can happen, right? But it's not like your muscles just stay dilapidated. They need to recover, they need to rest, and they will do that. So you have to understand that some of you guys have been like, this is kind of like a Five of Cups kind of moment in my head. It's like crying over spilled milk, not realizing that you already have some cups that haven't spilt over. And it's like, man, I got to start over. I'm like, not really. It's not like you're starting from square one. You know what I mean? You're not starting over from square one, because you have accumulated these experiences, which has given you this data, and they can use that as a new platform and a jumping point. I think today is going to be a day where it's like, we are definitely coming into some tough energy where we're trying to feel comfortable in this world. We're trying to feel comfortable with how the world has evolved to this point. Pluto is still in Capricorn, right? It's still at the edge of Capricorn. It still is working through all this energy and transforming it forever. But there's also this thing where it's like trying to find the comfort in a rapidly changing world. It can be difficult, because the things that may have made you feel comfortable before may not make you feel comfortable anymore, or the things that that you may feel secure in before don't exactly work anymore, or it's changed, it's altered, and it has to. I mean, you've changed and you've altered, so we can't expect things to just always be the same as they were 5-10 years ago. Things happen. Perfect example for me, and just being like flat out blunt honest, like, in my early 20s, weed never made me anxious or paranoid. My mid 20s, it started making me paranoid and anxious. I started getting really paranoid with it. And I don't think it's the weed itself. I think weed, the THC, is a teacher, and it brings out things that you are already suppressing, right? So I think that's really what it was, is that it brought out the things that I was suppressing. But I can't refute the fact that I would get more anxious and paranoid when I would smoke, instead of getting the chill and comfort and the fun that I got from it. So I had to stop for a while. And now that I do smoke again, I do vape again and stuff, I don't nearly use as much THC as I used to, and I just use it in different settings. I have to be careful about it. It has to have its parameters and its rules, if you will. So, but I have to accept the fact that it's never going to be the same as when I was in my early 20s. And that was like a hard lesson for me to learn. It didn't provide the same feeling. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just kind of the way that we have to go about this. It's like, it is what it is. It's not going to exactly feel the same. Now, granted, this is the last time that the sun will oppose Pluto in Capricorn in our lifetimes. It's never going to happen again, because the next time that the sun comes into Cancer, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius, and it'll go into Leo before Pluto goes back into Capricorn. So this is a huge moment. We're never going to see this again. And how amazing that we get it at the 29th degree. This is like a blessing in disguise. Remember how I said that, like, when it comes to like the energies of the planets, like, we definitely have mastered Aries, mastered Taurus in many ways. Gemini, we're like kind of there, right? I would say that we definitely have mastered like the first decan of Gemini, maybe even a little bit of maybe even most of the second decan. We're kind of in like the second to third decan as far as like mastery level as humanity. Cancer energy, nah. But the fact that we do get this opportunity to have the sun, this bright energy, the state is always sustaining energy, that always is, always shining, right? No matter if there are clouds in the sky, no matter what, it's always there, ever present. The fact that we get this energy at the edge of Cancer, the last degree of Cancer, opposing Pluto, is this opportunity for extreme massive transformation. And because this is in the later degrees, like the last degree, it's definitely going to be more of a societal thing, right? It's going to be more of a societal thing. Yeah, the sun moves a degree every day, pretty much. Pluto moves very, very slow. So this is generational changes. This is generational transformation. This is societal transformation on a large scale. This is going to kick off us actually beginning to come into a somewhat of a mastery of the Cancer energy. It's actually going to kick it off. And then we can finally get into our heart with Leo. We're not here yet. We kind of the reason why we have issues with a lot of the other signs as far as like trying to master them is because we try to skip Cancer, try to skip water, right? Now, what's going to be interesting is that once we master Cancer, Leo's going to come kind of automatically because we've already hit a fire sign too. So it's like we'll understand the fire element, and we've already hit a fixed sign too. So we'll understand the fixed aspect of it as well. This will kind of come easy. You know what I mean? Once we get to that point. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. Probably sometime during the age of Aquarius. Kind of makes sense though, right? Because it'll be along this axis of Aquarius and Leo. We are here though. We are here. We're in Cancer, right? We're still trying to figure out Cancer energy, right? But this is going to be, you're going to start to feel it. It's going to start to kick off today once the sun hits 29 degrees, which will be later on in the day, mind you, 9:37 Eastern time. But that is when it really begins, especially since it's so close, 29:02, 29:07. Yeah, we could just take it to the exact moment, right? I mean, it's going to be going into tomorrow pretty much. Yeah, it's going into tomorrow pretty much. But yeah, literally like at the tail end of the day, you have the opposition come exact. This happens while the moon is at 16 degrees of Virgo, right? Making a nice little sextile over to Juno, right? Juno, which is just past that halfway point of Cancer, which lets me know that we actually are going to begin to come into somewhat of a mastery of the Cancer energy and really starts to get it, really start to understand what Cancer energy is, these emotions and stuff like that. Why it's the crap? Why we sometimes have this exoskeleton? Then we have to like go beneath and realize and like see all of the gushy feelings underneath, right? What's interesting about this too is that like before this moment happens, the moon and the sun will have semi-squared, and you know we're coming up, of course, to the first quarter square of the moon, but it does make on like a semi-square right here too. So I think that's very interesting. You know, semi-square is a 45-degree angle, so kind of like a square. So kind of provides like a bit of a challenging moment, but it's sort of like making the decision to take that turn. It's like if you're driving, right, and you make like a hard turn, whatever like that. The semi-square is like making the decision before you make that turn, and it's not like you necessarily have like, I mean, we have like navigation stuff like that. So I guess if you're like using your maps, you go, okay, I got to turn here, but it's a hard turn, right? You have to like really move your steering wheel, whereas opposed to just like kind of like turning, like if it's like a trine, if you will, it's not like the full square. It's kind of like a nice little curve. It's smoother, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit smoother, but the square is it's abrupt. You know what I mean? That's why they can be challenging. The semi-square is like, okay, do I turn here? Do I turn there? And then you actually make the turn, if you will. So there's definitely going to be this element where it's like, all right, so am I going to make this turn whenever, of course, we get to the actual, you know, square when the moon is in Scorpio and the sun is in Leo, which will be in a few days. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a few days. But yeah, by this time, Mars is coming off of the opposition to Saturn. It's still there, but it's moving forward, right? And then, of course, we have this major boss battle here. Major boss battle with the sun opposing Pluto. This is like, this right here is like, I'm going to just use like a, like video game anime references. This is like you are in like the top dungeon, if you will, or the bottom, like the lowest level dungeon, but like the top level of the game, and you are like running at like you have like a whole party of members with you, and people are like using up all of their life force and lives and stuff like that, and you're like down to like your last life, and you're running out of mana, you're running out of stamina, and this freaking beast of a final boss is like it's like it still has like half of its power left, and you're just like literally just chucking every single thing in your arsenal at this thing, and it's like HP is just like a tick, 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 tick. It's barely going down, and you're like, what the heck is it going to take to freaking take this thing down? What is it going to take? I'll tell you what it's going to take. And this goes more into like the weekend aspect. I'll tell you what's going to take. It's going to take that right there. The sun going into Leo. That's what it's going to take. Now, of course, that happens tomorrow night. The sun moving into Leo. So we still have like almost like a full like 24, 36 hours before we get to this moment. Today is going to be the day where it feels like we're just chucking everything in our arsenal at this boss, trying to like figure out how we're going to beat this thing, if you will. How it's like learning how to feel comfortable when your like HP is like really, really low, and not doubting yourself that you can still come out the other end of this bitch, right? Yeah, once the sun enters into Leo, of course, Venus is going to be retrograde. You know what I mean? Chiron will be very soon to retrograding at this point. Moon will be at 28 degrees, so it will actually be coming off an opposition to Neptune while this is happening. Neptune, of course, is awake now, right? It's not Neptune's not asleep. When Neptune retrograde, he's actually awake, you know. And you got that moon, and the moon will be in Virgo. 28 degrees, semi-sextiling a Venus that just went retrograde, right? So that's more of a tomorrow aspect, and we'll get to it and stuff. But this is where we are. Pretty much come the end of the day, going into tomorrow. We have the boss battle that begins at 11:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely pay attention to your dreams tonight. Definitely pay attention to them, right? So this is also, like I said, this is one of those moments where, of course, when the sun reaches this spot, we do get the grand cardinal cross with the sun, Pluto, and the nodes. So yeah, there's definitely going to be this element like, well, how in the world are we going to get through this? Well, you know what I mean? Like I said, we have like this squaring energy, and it's all at these really edgy degrees. Black Moon Lilith will be on Venus at this point. So there's definitely going to be some fears that come up as far as like, you know, whether we feel like we're prepared, where we feel like the beauty, where we're feeling the love, if you will. There's going to be some fears that come up about, like around that. And then, of course, yeah, the way that you would get through this is to kind of just go into that north node, but you still have Chiron here. Now, like I said, the beautiful thing about this is that we do have Mercury, which is trining Chiron at this point, which is cool. But we also have to, like, if we're not communicating the right things to ourselves, if we keep telling ourselves that we're unworthy, that we can't do it, you know what I mean? That we're an imposter, that we don't belong, you know, feeling that powerful, that we're not a superhero, that someone else has to come save me, that someone else has to come do this for me, then we're going to get steamrolled here. I'm just going to be honest. We're just going to get steamrolled here. But if we embrace our power, and we embrace that we are the hero, the superhero that we're looking for, and not all superheroes wear capes, and not all superheroes seem impervious to emotions, mood swings, anxieties, depressions. Like, they're dynamic. They're not just like these impervious symbols that never experience any challenges. And like I said, Most superhero origin stories start off with some sort of traumatic event. And instead of using that traumatic event as a currency, that's only going to get you so far. It's only going to get you so far. Use it as a platform, if you will, to if you have to use it as a platform to jump off and to create and move towards something a lot more beneficial for you and for humanity at large, instead of focusing on that thing. There's a lot of focusing on that. There's a lot of focusing on our traumas, there's a lot of focusing on those sort of things, and victimhood and victim currency. That stuff is actually not going to work anymore. You're going to start to see that that stuff isn't going to work anymore. And it's not that people are going to start lacking compassion and empathy for other people. It's that we're going to be like, hey, who said that coming to this planet was going to be easy and that you were going to be coddled? Who said that you weren't going to experience challenges and difficulties? Who said that you were going to be liked by everyone? Who said that? Who said that your decisions would come under the critical eye of people and that they may not agree with you or your lifestyle? Do you now there's a difference between like people just simply not agreeing with you and stuff like that and having like differing opinions and discrimination. There's definitely a difference there. So I don't want to like paint this whole thing where it's like just get over it. No, there's certainly an issue with like discrimination and stuff like that in the world. I think that's and once we start to master the Cancer energy, we'll start to actually really work a lot of that stuff out. We're not there yet. That's why the world's crazy. Everyone's trying to and trust me, I'm pretty naive myself. I think that we can achieve world peace, and I maintain that belief. But I also know that that's not going to come just by singing "Kumbaya" and holding hands. And I would love for that to be the case, but it's just not the reality of it. It's just not the reality of it, right? This is going to be a moment, I feel, especially as this opposition starts to occur, and we do get these beautiful trining energies. But like I said, we do get this sextile between the moon and Juno. And being that it's at 16 degrees, 1 plus 6 is 7, right? So this brings on a bit of a Neptunian kind of quality, a very spiritual kind of quality to it. And Mars is at 7 degrees as well at Virgo. So we get this sort of like harmonic energy of the 7 energy, right? Where we actually start to, and yeah, Juno is usually seen as the marriage energy, but I'm seeing this more as like a commitment. This is going to be a moment where we commit to a path. Like it happens like tonight. And you're either going to go one way or the other way. Not everyone's going to commit to the same path. Some people are going to go this way, some people are going to go that way. Some people are going to choose to play the bad guy. Some people are going to play the good guy. And I don't think there's really any in between. There may be like more neutral people, but I don't think there's really in between. I think that, especially being that this is an opposition at 29 degrees and Pluto is involved, this is a hard cut. A hard cut. And you're either on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. That doesn't mean that people from opposite sides of the fence can't get along after this moment, but it definitely means that I would say certainly this energy will probably carry out certainly over the next 3 to 4, 5 years or so. And people are going to pick their sides and people are going to pick their teams. That happens like today, going into tomorrow, this whole weekend. You'll see it. Now, the good thing about this, the blessing of the skies that we have, is that we do have Venus in Leo. So it's like, even though people are going to pick their teams, there is a bit of like it's almost like the season begins today, but you still have like a trade deadline, you know what I mean? Which is like halfway through the season. So even though people will pick their teams and we start playing the game, Venus retrograde is like the trade deadline. You know what I mean? So you can actually trade and go to a different team over the next 40 days or so. 40 days, 40 nights. That's how long Venus retrogrades for. You got the trade deadline, and then it's got to come forward, and then it'll exit shadow on October 10th. I think it's October 10th. I gotta look to see just to make sure. Let me do this. Let me go by weeks. Okay, so yeah, and then actually it's earlier. Excuse me, it's earlier. Yeah, it's going to be October 6th going into the 7th is when Venus comes out of its shadow. That's when it comes out of its shadow period. And it's like officially like really moving forward, right? So I would say that you have until then, you know. But here's the thing, you're not necessarily going to know what team you're on either. Like you will know, but you have to really just, this is a moment where you have to just like trust your heart and just kind of move forward. Now it's gonna, like, we're all going to be learning to trust, like to really trust our heart, especially with Venus retrograding in Leo. That's what this is all about, trusting our heart, you know. But there's going to be, like I said, this is the day where we pick our teams and then the battle starts, like the game starts, you know, the season starts, if you will. And fortunately, like I said, we do have this trade deadline. So we have until, like I said, October 6th, 7th or so to make the trades. And then after that's over. And like after that, it's done. Like it's at least for like the next 4 to 5 years or so, it's done. You're on the team that you're on, and that's it. You got to commit to that. You know what I mean? So yeah, no pressure. Let's get into the cards for the day. Okay, let's do what cards we have for today, y'all. Like on the real though, man, we got the 4 of Pentacles, but it's actually upright this time. We also got the Ace of Pentacles upright too. So we got the same 2 cards, but then we got the freaking 5 of Cups. Didn't I just say that this was like a 5 of Cups kind of moment? Didn't I just say that this was a 5 of Cup moment? Where we are crying over those 3 that we spilled, and now that we have 2, oh, I have less than half of what I had before. Yeah, but you're not starting from 0. You're not starting from 0. This was reversed yesterday. Now it's upright. You know what I mean? You better give this boss the goods. You better show up and give this boss the goods, because they've just been sitting there just like talking mad shit that you aren't worthy and that you can't amount to anything. You better give this boss the goods. I want to get another card. I'm going to cut the deck and get another card. Yeah, we have the 2 of Wands. Didn't I already say that this is the moment where we pick our sides? We pick what route we go? I just said that. I mean, yeah, he's powering up and stuff. Oh, yeah, he's super angry. He's super enraged. He's powering up. But yeah, this is the day where we definitely pick our sides. Are you going to pick the side where you focus on those 3 cups, the ones that have fallen over? And are you going to do everything you can to try and scoop the water back into them after the water has seeped into the concrete, into the ground and stuff? And then are you going to just mourn and just complain about how these cups have been spilled? And are you just going to focus on that? Or are you going to focus on what's supporting you? Like we're so focused on like this right here that we can't even see what has our back. Are you going to focus on this, or are you going to focus on that? You better not hold back. You better not hold back. You better give this thing the goods. You have so much more power than you realize. You're so much more valuable than you realize. You have so much more stamina than you realize. You can beat this boss. You will beat this boss. If you're watching this channel, And that's not to say that regardless of whatever way that you pick, that you're not going to experience challenges. It's not like one side of the population is going to just experience like unhinged bliss every single day, and the other one's just going to experience just pain every single day. That's not how this works. But it is a day where there's like this card cut and we decide. Remember, we got the judgment card yesterday. So are you going to answer the call? Let's see what the animal messenger for today is. We have the card of the porcupine. You may defend yourself honorably without hurting those close to you. Yeah, absolutely. The porcupine only hurts something if something gets really, really close to them. If you're like really, really, really curious, right? So it gives people the opportunity. It gives predators the opportunity. It's like, are you sure you want to come attack me? I got these spines, you know. So you can defend yourself honorably. You can stand up. You can stand on your principles, stand on your values, and be you authentically without hurting those around you and close to you, right? You can do that. It sometimes doesn't seem easy because sometimes we let emotions get really, really wrapped into it, and then we start to take things personally and stuff, and we really shouldn't be taking things personally, even with those who are close to us, right? We shouldn't take it personally. But sometimes we have a tendency to take things personally, you know. It's not personal. It's not personal. So you can stand on your principles. Stand on. Some people are going to feel like you shouldn't be this smug about it. That you shouldn't be this happy about what you have and what you've already manifested. Some people are like, oh, why are you holding on to all that? Why are you holding on to that energy? You should be more humble. It's funny how yesterday the energy, the Four of Pentacles was more humble, and today the Four of Pentacles are not. I got it. I got it. That's what today is. I got it. Why am I worried? It's like knowing that you are like down to like your last few weapons and the last bit of your energy and stuff, and you still have this towering boss over you, and they're just laughing because it seems like you've exhausted so much, and then you freaking whip out the secret weapon. But you don't show any fear. You don't show, like, that doesn't mean that you're not afraid, right? It doesn't mean that you're not afraid, but you don't give them the satisfaction. You don't give them the satisfaction of knowing that you're afraid. No, you don't give them that satisfaction. You just show unbridled confidence in your situation, no matter how dire it seems. It's going to piss them off. And then that's when they make the mistake, and then that's when you win. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. And if you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And I will see you guys for the weekend astrology forecast, Lionsgate portal, Venus retrograde. We're here. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. I love you all. See you on the next video. Peace out. Later.